Okay, so this video is gonna show the flowchart with well, it's gonna be the pseudocode for flowchart question 3 and then flowchart question 4. Okay. All right, so you want to have a start and an end. So maybe I can bold that. All right, so let's see what we're going to do. It says draw a flowchart that will calculate the price of building a house. The price of the house is three things. The first is the quality of the interior. The second is the lot size. The third is the size of the house. The realtor enters the number for each item, not the name. The okay, so instead of entering custom home, they want you to enter in quality. So you just put 1, 2, or 3. I think on my flowchart I had people put, or I put custom, mid quality, and economy. It doesn't matter. The clerk will not enter the number that they can't control, such as prices. For example, everyone buys a custom home, pays $1,000 for each 100 or 500 square feet, and $500 for each 100 square feet of the house. I'll put the cost for one person to buy. People may only buy one home. Trace the program. Okay, so we will output enter the, and you know what, I'm gonna sorry, I have to zoom. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit because I feel like this is kind of small. Okay, so enter the type of house. Mid quality. And then let me do this too. We're going to input, and I'm just going to call this variable house type. So it'd be 1, 2, or 3. So we need the lot square feet. So input lot square feet. Enter the total house square feet. Okay. All right, so a lot of people missed this. So the way this works, and I'll pull up a notepad and do some division, but anytime you're buying in lot sizes, you pay even for one. If your square feet is 1,001 square feet, that 1 square feet you're gonna pay $500. That counts as an extra lot, so you're gonna pay an extra. If it's a custom home, another 1,000 square feet. Almost everybody misses this because they're just kind of new and don't understand how modulus works. But let me see here if I can get on. Let's see here. This is where it's important that you watch the math review video because they'll teach you about modulus. But modulus is basically just elementary division. All right. So, and why am I going to do paint? So if I open up Paint, well, let me write this out, all right, real quick, and then you'll see what I'm saying. So if, and then we'll have else, then we're going to end our if statement. Okay, so if the lot square feet modulus 500 is greater than 0, then what I did is I said true, and then I can end true. I can make that italics. And again, I think I pointed this out in the second one that you don't have to do this true and true if you don't want it. I don't know. I'll just do it because it's in the book, but it's also in the book says it's not necessary. So anyway, if it's greater than 0, then I'm going to have a lot num because I need to know how many lots they're buying. So then I do lot square feet divided by 500 plus 1. Okay. Else, if it's an even number of even number of square feet that's divisible by 500 perfectly, then I'll just say the lot num is equal to the lot square feet divided by 500. And let me go through this real quick because I can do this in Paint pretty easy. That's probably fine. All right, so let's say your lot number, or your lot is 1,200 square feet, okay? So basically what you need to do is where this if statement is, so it'd be 1,200 modulus 500, all right? So you do, how many times does 500 get divided into 1,200? Okay. It gets in 2 times. So 2 times 500 is 1,000. I subtract that out, and I get 200. So my answer to 1,200 modulus 500 is a remainder of 200. Okay. So modulus finds the remainder of a division problem, okay? So if I go back in here and you went and you know the user entered in, oops, that's one I already wrote anyway. I always write it out before the video. Anyway, so if the user entered 1,200 modulus 500 is 200. Is 200 greater than 0? Yes, so then what you do is you do 1,200 divided by 500, and that's going to give you 2. We're assuming these are integers. Integer division does not store decimal places. And again, like I said, you're paying per lot. So any amount of square foot that's over like a 500 square foot lot is going to, even if it's only 1 foot, you're going to pay that entire 500 square feet. So right here, you got 200 over, so you're going to pay the 500 square foot lot fee. Okay. Depending, now I'm getting the number of lots set up so that then I can multiply it by whether it's a custom, mid quality, or economy later on in the program. But either way, again, this would be 2 plus 1, so that's 3 lots that you're buying. This one, like let's say this is let's say you end up doing, something like this. If it's equal to 0 basically. So if you had 1,000 square feet, and you wanted to know how many 500 go into it. 500s go into it. You got 2, and then you got 1,000. Okay, you subtract those out, and you get 0. The remainder or answer to that is 0. So 1,000 modulus 500 is 0. And is 0 greater than 0? No. So then what do we need to do then is we've got 1,000 divided by 500, and that's going to give me 2. So in this case, I bought 2 lots. This case, with 1,200 square feet, as an example, I'd have to buy 3 lots, okay? Okay. And you're going to do the exact same thing with house lots. You're kind of buying it by the, instead of being, so I'm going to call this, if house square feet modulus, now this time it's 100, okay, because per 100 square feet of house, okay, again, you could have, you know, a 50 square foot house, like tiny house, let's say. That'd be like a size of a closet, basically. But anyway, you're still going to pay, you got to pay for one of the 100 square feet that you bought, even though it's not a full 100 square foot. Okay, so I'm gonna call this one house num, and I'm gonna make sure it's not italicized. So I'll do house square feet is going to be 100 plus 1. And again, this is going to be house num, and this will be house square feet. House square feet is greater than 0. If that's true, the house num is equal to the house square feet divided by 100 plus 1. Else, okay, cool. So that looks good to me, all right? Now, the next important thing we need to do is we need to do our if. We'll do else if, and then we'll do else. And then we need to end here. Okay, so this is going to be if the house type is is equal to 1. That's the custom home, right? Right up here, if they enter 1, that's a custom home. Then what we need to do, so if this is true, and true, what? How did I copy that? Edit, undo. Control C. Okay. I'll turn that off right there. So we will say the total cost is equal to the lot num times 1,000 plus the house num times 500, right? 1,000. So we get the number of lots, multiply it by 1,000, get the number of home lots, and we multiply it by 500. We add those together, and that's our total cost, okay? All right, in this case, actually we got to do this. We got to say house type equals to 2. So if the house type is, was that the mid-grade one? Okay, so if it's the mid-grade, then it's 700 and 400. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, the economy house is going to be 500 and 300. So 500 and 300. Okay. So that's the total cost of that, all right? Now I'm going to quickly, or I'm going to try to go down here. This video is getting a little bit long in the tooth. It's about 15 minutes so far, I think. So, okay, so this one, we start off with what we had. And it says, add to the flowchart above, have a loop so that it can process multiple customers. Okay. Output the amount each person has to pay, and the total revenue for the day. Trace the program, make up your own data, show the data at the top of the page, make sure, okay, so, all right, so this is assuming, you know, I don't know, maybe you're like a real estate agent or something and you're trying to figure out, you know, you got multiple sales in the day, and at the end of the day, you want to run kind of like a report to figure out your total revenue, all right? So what I do is I'm going to say that we have 0 customers at first. We'll just assign it to that. And then I'll say output, do you have a customer? Yes or no? And we will input, we'll just say it's another customer. They'll enter yes or no, okay? And this would assume that we're in a while loop. Loop, another customer is equal to yes. So the user has a customer and they want to enter in the information. So all we do then is just have this stuff over, right? Because our you know, our stuff works, and all we're doing is just then allowing for this to work, you know, every single time for each customer we have in our, you know, pile or whatever of paperwork. Okay. And there's only going to be one difference here, is that, you know, we could have like a running tally of the, what's it called? We could have a running tally of the total revenue. And it kind of depends on how we want to display that. We could display it at the very end, or we could kind of display it for each one through. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Let's see here. So either way, we want to be able to at some point end the loop. Okay, end loop. All right, so again, that's nice and lined up with my eyeball right here. But before we end the loop, we want to ask them, you know, do you have another customer? Do you want to end the loop? So we would say output, do you have another customer? Yes or no? And the input would be another customer. Now this is kind of confusing for new programmers. Okay, so look at this. You're like, well, I already did that there. Okay, you're right. You did put yes in there, and that gets us into the loop, all right? Typically with this, I would do a do-while loop, but I'm just teaching this now. Python doesn't have a do-while loop, so this is kind of how you do this. Those should be uppercased. Okay, so anyway, you know, Python has a while loop. Other programming languages have do-whiles. Do-while would allow you to run it one time, so you wouldn't actually you wouldn't ask them first, okay? But either way, once you ask them, you're in the loop, okay? So if you don't ask them again, then another customer, if you don't allow them to enter it again, then another customer is always yes. And so you end up having what's called an infinite loop. It would just all of a sudden go and do it over and over and over again. So you have to allow them, once you're in the loop, to get out of it. So if they enter no, I don't have any more paperwork, I got no more customers, I enter no, then right here, this is false, and then we're done, okay? Now, the only kind of difference it was asking for, it was like the number, like the number of customers, I guess, that you might want to look up. So I'll just say, you get to the end of here, and you'll say, customer is customer plus one. So it's counting up the number of customers that you've entered. Okay, and then again, total revenue is just going to be equal to the total revenue value variable, okay, plus the total cost. So for each time, like let's say the first customer is 100,000, so this is 0, so 100,000 plus 0, so the total revenue after that customer is 100 grand, right? But then when you get another customer that you enter, and let's say they did 200,000, so you've got 100,000 stored in this variable plus 200,000 is now 300,000. Okay. Now it's kind of up to you. Ideally, maybe for each customer we just do output, and we'll say customer. Customer one, and then their total cost. So customer one, total cost. Okay, so maybe we output that there. Okay. And then, maybe we do like an output. Maybe do a couple outputs. Like typically, maybe at the end of the report, you've got something like that going on. And then you can output I don't know, total revenue. Depending on how you do it, you could put that in there. You're adding it up the whole time, every time you go through, but then at the end, maybe at the very bottom, like I said, you've got some sort of kind of report, and it's printing up the total revenue for you. So it just kind of depends on how you want to do that, but that's how you would add this loop in here to add, for multiple customers, and then display, what customer you are and the total cost, which we already did there for each one. But then the revenue gets added up. So anyway, this video is done.